Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to those of you joining this live stream. My name is Amista, and I'm here to get to know some of you and to catch up with those of you who are regulars here and to do a little bit of tarot reading and just have some fun, just talking and chatting and getting to know each other. That cloud you're seeing in the back is from incense. There's not anything supernatural about that at all. Just to dispel any myths right off the bat there. So let's see. Right now I'm just clearing my cards, getting ready for my YouTube live stream. We are going to start this with the very first spread being what is our best manifestation advice for today. So that's what we're going to put up here first. And then we'll see what comes after that. The more people we have coming in the room, usually the longer I stay. I like to read for people in the room, give you guys a chance to see a little bit about how I work, what I'm all about, that kind of good stuff. So we'll see what shows up here. What will show up here? All right, so let's get started with our first spread for the day. This is our manifestation spread. What is our best advice for manifesting what we want to in our life? So be thinking about, what do you want to manifest in your life? This advice is going to be a nice theme for the next 24 hours on that. Good afternoon, Miss Cheryl. Glad to see you here. How are you today, my friend? Best manifestation advice for the next 24 hours for those of us here now and those of us who stumble across this video later. Let's see what we got. Rushi Gupta, hello, welcome back. How are you today? I'm glad you're great. I'm doing pretty darn good too, thank you. All right, here's what we have. Here's what we have. For manifestation advice over the next 24 hours, we do have the Tower showing up in reverse, which tells me that we're already in a state where we have improved a situation where there was a shakeup before. We have gotten to the other side of that shakeup, and we have got something going on better in our life than what was happening before the shakeup. So it's good to acknowledge that, like stop and smell the roses, like look what we already have done. That's part of what we have coming up here. And then we have the Strength card, which really tells me that whatever it is that we have moved on to is really good for us. It's really strong. It's great. And it probably even has helped our self-esteem as well. But also it's solid. It's solid. And this allows us to do things together with other people that we really enjoy doing without people micromanaging us. So it offers us more freedom. So basically, I think today this is more of a let's be aware of what you have done so far type of day. Maybe even let's celebrate ourselves, or at least take a breather from pushing on the manifestation and just look at where you were a couple of weeks ago or a couple of years ago or whatever. Look at where you are now and appreciate that. That's the important part of our manifestation process for today. Isn't that interesting? I did remember you. You know why I remembered you? Because I'm not that good with faces or names normally. But Gupta is the name of the doctor that was in this movie I saw a long time ago that had Queen Latifah in it. Called Last Holiday. That's the name of it. So when I first saw your last name, I already had an association to put with it right away. Because otherwise I'm not too good with names. All right, so let's see. We have 3 people in the room. I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 6. By the way, thank you for all the thumbs ups already, everybody. And if you feel like this is a video that other people would benefit from as well, please share it with those that you think might benefit from it. I am going to pick a number between 1 and 6. And I'm going to write it down and circle it, and whoever puts that number in the chat first is going to be the next person that I read for. Number between 1 and 6. 3 is not it, and 4 is not it. 3 is still not it. 2 is not it. 5. Arishi Gupta. You got it. Cheryl, right behind. This is for Arishi, and then we'll see if there's a piggyback. All right, so Arishi, do you have a specific question for me today, or do you want a message from Sacred Spirit? Jennifer Davis, hello, hello. Glad you're in the room today. Welcome. Enjoy. That's what I have to say about that, Arishi. Enjoy. Everybody else be on the lookout for a piggyback message. Don't forget to put a thumbs up if you appreciate these types of videos, and share with others. Message from Spirit regarding your career. Now you're trying to get 2 in 1 here. So if I do a message from Spirit, I don't pick the topic. I let Spirit pick the topic. That's why it's a message from Spirit. If you want to know something about your career, then ask me a specific question and I'll be happy to look at that for you. But you have to pick one or the other, honey. One or the other. Jennifer, how are you doing today? Okay, Spirit message done. What would you guys like to say to Arishi? Okay, we've got your cards down. First 2 cards are going to be whatever the topic is that Spirit wants to talk to you about. This can be past, present, or future. I not only do not pick the topic, I also don't pick the time frame. You're going to recognize it if it's in the past or the present. If you don't recognize it, then obviously it's in the future. Usually future for me with these types of spreads it happens within 2 weeks. Normally, really, I would say 80 to 90% of the time I hear that it happens within 2 days or quicker. So that's the rundown. Here are your cards. Everybody, don't forget, look out for a piggyback message. But Arishi, here are your cards. First of all, we start with an Emperor in reverse. And when an Emperor shows up in reverse, what this is telling me, Arishi, is that there's somebody in your sphere of influence that has strong narcissistic tendencies, which basically just means that they're kind of corrupt. Like they don't do things honestly or with integrity. They kind of do whatever it takes to get people to do what they want to have accomplished. And they are in authority. So they impact, your life because you have to answer to them in some way. Okay. That's a right now thing. Okay. So this is somebody you're interacting with. Here's what we have for our cover card. We have the Knight of Swords showing up, which basically tells me that the main way that this person is acting not corruptly to you has to do with words, has to do with conversation. So this may be that they're not telling you the truth, or it may be that they're telling you to do things that just don't make sense. But a lot of this has to do with words. I don't see a lot of action yet. It looks to me like words are their main way of manipulating you, let's say. Okay, now, just out of curiosity, is this happening in your career sector of your life? I'm just curious because I know that's what you were wondering about. But yeah. These people are not as slick as they think they are. They can get away with stuff for a little while, but sooner or later somebody catches on. So, isn't that funny? Spirit picked your topic area at least. Now let's look at some things here. Here we have the Page of Cups showing up, or the Knight of Cups showing up in reverse. For me, I feel like this is like you're kind of turning your back towards this person who has the narcissistic tendencies. Like you're basically just trying to not give them any more attention than than you're required to. So like if you have the option and they come into the room, you may be literally leaving the room, but definitely you're tuning them out as much as you can get away with without it impacting anything in your life. Five of Wands talks about this idea of being really distracted. It talks about that there's a lot of distractions around you. And in spite of these distractions, this says that you are trying to stay really focused. So this means that when you're trying to not pay attention to this person, they're probably jumping up and down on the desk or doing like cartwheels through the office or the plant or whatever. I mean, they're doing everything they can to distract you and get you to engage with them. And you're staying really focused because this card's in reverse. You're staying really focused in spite of that on not interacting with them. Oh, there can be a lot of other topics for single people, trust me. Family is a big one. Oh, home is another one. All right, so anyway, let's get back to your reading. Here we have the Three, or the Empress, showing up in reverse. Now, when we have the Empress showing up in reverse, this is telling me that even though you're not paying any more attention to this person than you have to, you're trying to keep your head down and stay focused on your tasks and getting your stuff done. The fact of the matter is they've really got you worried. They've got you anxious. Some of these things they're saying have gotten under your skin, and it's really hard for you to focus on those things that you feel like are good. You're spending more time focusing on them and their silliness that they're coming up with, which means that you're just manifesting more of that kind of silliness, not only from this person, but maybe even from other people once you've done this long enough. So this is kind of your reminder of, you know, it's not enough to just ignore this person whenever you can, but you also have to keep yourself focused on those things that are good, those goals or those targets that you have for yourself, those things that you want to create, those things that you want to manifest in your life. It's good to keep your focus on those and not let this guy get into your head, or this person get into your head and change how you view things, change your perspective about how you're thinking about things, because we already know this guy's corrupt anyway. He's not giving you real information. So there's no reason to be paying attention to it like this. You can. Absolutely, you can. Otherwise, Spirit wouldn't show it to you for you to be aware of. Spirit's not going to show you something to be aware of if you can't make a change with it. That's not how they work. They don't try to beat us up. All right, so we've got 5 in the room. I've got 3 thumbs up. I'd like to see a couple more thumbs up if possible. Meanwhile, I'm going to pick a number to read for the next person, and whoever puts that number in the chat first will be the next person that I read for. Number between 5, we'll go between 1 and 10. And I've got that number written down and circled right now. Whoever puts that number in the chat first is the next one. 9 is not it. 7 is not it. 6 is not it. 4 is not it. 3 is not it. 3 is still not it. 2 is not it. 10 is not it. 8, Jennifer Davies. I was wondering, you guys usually both are pretty good at getting it right off the bat. I was wondering who was going to end up with that one. Okay, Jen, do you have a question for me? Specific question, or do you want a message from Spirit? Message from Spirit. Boop, boop. Today's the 21st. Oh, wow. I'm surprised you are here. All right. Message from Spirit for Jen. You were lucky, especially up against these ladies. All right, so let's see here. I think this is all talking about something that has already happened, much more than present tense, because every single one of these cards I'm looking at on the vice versa tarot, I'm looking at that side, which for me implies that that's the past. So the first card we have coming up is Two of Swords, which says that there was a decision that was made, basically that you made, and it's covered with the Hermit card, and it says that you made this decision carefully. You took some time by yourself to make this decision without being influenced by any outsiders or anybody else as to what the best decision for this would be for you. Now, best advice, heads up, or insight around that decision. What do we have? All right, we have the King of Wands in reverse. This to me talks about this is a decision to kind of turn your back on something that you were building, something that's creative, maybe even, okay, turning my back on my business. I'm sure that's going to be just temporary, but let's look at what's going on here. Four of Pentacles is next. This says decided to pour out energy and effort on something else. And Seven of Wands has to do with holding my ground. So this looks to me like you made some kind of decision to sort of turn your back on something creative and outgoing that you do, and really have poured out some energy on something that allows you to hold your ground or rejuvenate and revive. So it's interesting. I think I know exactly what that is about. And I hope that that decision allows a lot of rejuvenation for you. You're quite welcome. Quite welcome. All right, let's see. How many people in the room? We've got 2 in the room. I don't know if there's anybody in here that I haven't read for yet. I am going to pick a number between 1 and 4, and whoever puts that number in the chat first will be the next person that I read for. If somebody else in here still would like a reading, number between 1 and 4. Cheryl Ford, got it right off the bat with that 3. There you go. All right, Miss Cheryl. Do you have a specific question for me today, or do you want a message from Spirit? I should do a message from Spirit for me. Message from Spirit for Cheryl Ford. Let's see what we have. Boop-a-da-doo-doo, boop-a-da-doo, boop-a-da-doo-doo, boop-a-da-doo, boop-a-da-doo-doo, boop-a-da-doo. Oh, goodness. Well, you've got some dramatic stuff coming up here. This is interesting. Okay. First of all, we start with the Queen of Swords in reverse, and the Queen of Swords in reverse talks to me about this idea that you are cutting off communication with somebody, and this is a hard cutoff. This isn't like, oh, well, maybe if they reach out to me, just leave me a text message, that way I don't have to talk to them on the phone or see them in person. Maybe I'll talk to them. Nay. This is a hard cutoff. We're not taking text messages. We're not taking messages through family members. We're not talking to this person at all. The exceptions to this would be if you're co-parenting with this person, or if you literally work with this person, then you may still talk to them about those things, but you're going to be keeping it to those topics only if that's the case. This is a really hard cutoff. Now, Seven of Cups here says that what you're cutting off is lots of options. So you may have a person that has lots of options that you're cutting off, or you may be cutting off lots of options. You may be saying, yeah, none of those are for me. Thank you very much. I'm not sure exactly which way this is coming through. I'm going to say, if I had to put money on it, I'm going to say that you're cutting off lots of options, which to me would say that you're deciding something and that's cutting out other things, or you're looking at these different options in front of you and you're saying, I don't want any of these. Nay, nay, don't even talk to me about this. This could be a realtor's, like, just as an example, so you know what type of energy I'm looking at here. An example would be a realtor showing you like 5 different houses, and none of them are like were they even listening when you told them what you're looking for? That type of energy. So there's something going on where you're cutting off some options that are in front of you. Now, when we look at the advice or the heads up around this, or the insight around this, we do have the King of Wands showing up here. The King of Wands is a very outgoing, social type person. He likes to have people around him happy, and he'll crack jokes and do whatever he can to make sure that they are happy. He usually is pretty helpful, and this is somebody who is fairly established. Okay, so I feel like that's somebody that has to do with these options. This may be the person that presented these options, and you may have been like, you are not even in the ballpark, buddy. Now, we have the Four of Pentacles coming out here, which basically says, I am pouring out energy and effort. Well, are we? No, because he came up right side up. I'm actually not used to seeing him right side up. That actually says, I am holding back. I am not pouring out energy or effort. Now, why aren't you? Well, you've cut off all these options, so you're not even considering them. You're not thinking about them. You're not even giving them time in your mind. Okay? So I'm going to say, if this is our King of Wands, if this is who gave you all these options, now you're like, I'm holding back from you because you're not even making sense. You're not hearing me. You're not listening to me. And we have the Moon card in reverse, which is quite interesting to show up here, because it basically says, the Moon card in reverse, let's back up. The Moon card in reverse talks about information that we didn't have our hands on that comes up to the surface on its own. We're not digging for this information. We may be feeling like there are some missing pieces to the puzzle. There's information that we don't have, but we're not actually digging for it. It just surfaces, okay, with no effort on our part. So what's interesting to me here is this idea that you're cutting off options, that you're holding back from this person who's giving you all these options. You're not really even telling them, like, you're not trying to explain to them, look, you missed the boat and this is why. I'm not even looking for anything like that. What I'm looking for is this. I think you feel like you've already told them whatever it is you need. So you're cutting off the options. You're holding back. You're not sharing anything with this person anymore. Not, like not even ideas, nothing. And that holding back is actually what triggers this new information coming up. And with the Moon in reverse, the other thing that this card says, when that new information comes up, it's something that, I don't know if we have a race car on this street or what, but I apologize. But when this new information comes up, this is talking about that this is information that's going to change how you feel about things once this information comes out. But it feels to me like the way this is set up, that you're cutting off options, it feels to me like somebody is totally not hearing you. They're trying to help you, but they're not doing a very good job because they're not hearing you. And you saying, you know what, I'm kind of done with this. That's what actually makes some information come up that's going to change things for you. I don't know if it's going to mean that you're going to go back and look at these options, but it's certainly going to help you understand what's been happening, why this person has been so far off base. So that's what we've got. I hope that makes sense for you. Alicia, hello, welcome. All right, so I'm going to pick another number between 1 and 4. And I've got it down and circled. Whoever picks that number next is going to be the next person that I read for. You're welcome. Why are you saying wow? What is going on? 431. 2 is it, Alicia. Looks like you're the only one that wants a reading in the room. So, Alicia, do you have a specific question for me, or do you want a message from Spirit? You're not exactly sure. Do you have some ideas of where it could be happening? Like, can you even see where you might cut off some options right now? Okay, then I really want to hear back about this. Whenever it happens, I really want to hear back about it. You'll have to tell me on the next video or the one after that. Okay, Alicia wants a message from Spirit. Alicia, what would you like to say to Alicia? Okay, first 2 cards are down. We're starting off, Miss Alicia, and anybody else who gets a piggyback, with a 2 of Pentacles. So this just tells me life is hectic. You've got a lot going on. There's a lot of plates in the air that you're keeping spinning. And it feels hectic to you, although people around you may not think it's so hectic. They may think that you're just handling it gracefully. Look at that Alicia. She just has such a busy life and she doesn't let anything fall through the cracks. Isn't she amazing? That type of thing. Thank you for the reactions there. Next, what that's covered with is the 10 of Swords in reverse. 10 of Swords in reverse basically says to me, I used to be super, super, super busy. I thought I was done being super, super, super busy. And now I'm getting super, super, super busy again. All right. So, and it also tells me you're not exactly thrilled about being super, super, super busy. It causes you some tension and a little bit of stress. So, hello there, Gran. Welcome, welcome. You made it into the live stream. I've been worried about you. I haven't seen you in a few days. Are you okay? Did you have to go to the hospital or something? Because you're normally like regular. All right, so boop-a-da-doo-doo. Best advice or heads up here for Alicia. We have the Knight of Cups coming up in reverse. This is this idea of, man, I need to take some rejuvenation time. When do I fit that into my schedule? All right. And I think for you to fit that into your schedule, you're going to have to be really focused on it. You're going to have to be like turning off the cell phone, not taking the tablet or the laptop with you to get some time. Maybe this is, so I just got this memory as I was looking at this card, you know, this, if you have lots of little kids around or even one little kid, oh my gosh, having rejuvenation time can be so difficult. And I was looking at this, like focusing on that rejuvenation time. And I was remembering back when I was a stepmom in the aughts, so 06, 05, 04, that time frame. One of my daughters was like 4 years old, and she just was attached to me, like really attached to me, like you would not expect as a stepmom, because you know usually that's not what's going on. But she was super attached to me, and so I would go to the bathroom for some peace, because there was actually a bunch of kids in the house. She had a lot of siblings, and I needed to just grab some peace. And so I would take a little extra time in the bathroom. And before I even had gotten into the extra time, her little hand would come in under the door. There was like this much of a crack under the door. Her little hand and her little arm would come in under the door. Are you done yet? Are you almost done? Oh, well, I'll wait for you here. I'll be right here when you're ready to come out. Can I come in? So this, four large dogs got you. So this is what made me think of that. This idea of really like ignoring the distractions to get the peace, or maybe not even ignoring them, but pointing them in a different direction so that you can get some peace and have some time to rejuvenate yourself. All right. So thank you guys for the reactions. I appreciate that. And then we have our Ace of Cups coming up, which basically says this allows you to kind of bring yourself back up. It basically is telling me that all of these renewed things that you're handling have you worn down a little bit, and you're going to have to find some way to take some time for rejuvenation so you can feel like yourself again. Hope that makes sense for you. All right, so let's see. We have 5 people in the room. 5 thumbs ups. Woohoo! Thank you, everybody. All right, so 5 people in the room. I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 10. Whoever picks that number first and puts it in the chat will be the next person I read for. Awesome. I'm really glad. I hope somebody got a piggyback out of that too. We'll see. So number between 1 and 10, if you want me to read for you. Well, Granny, you just took it right away. Okay, Ms. Gracie, do you have a question, a specific question for me today? Or do you want a message from Spirit? And where did you say you were? You were cleaning your little cubby. Oh, couldn't be distracted by somebody like me, huh? Star Traveler, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here, honey bunny. All right, Gracie, message from Spirit. Everybody else, be on the lookout for a piggyback message here. What would you like to say to Gracie today? Boop a doo doo, boop boop. Have you been in the room before, Star Traveler? All right, so Gracie, what we have for you. Oh, ooh. All right, I don't know if this is a guy or a girl, but we have the King of Swords showing up in reverse. This is my adult fit thrower. This is somebody who acts like a 4-year-old throwing a fit in the middle of the supermarket because he can't have his candy, kicking his legs and screaming and making a big scene. Only he's a grown-up. He's not in a 4-year-old body, he or she. Now we have this covered by my Emperor card in reverse, which tells me that this person is throwing a grown-up fit because of their narcissistic tendencies. They feel like if they throw a big fit, then they can get what they want from you. And they're trying whatever they can to get what they want from you, whatever that might be. Okay? Oh, well, I'm glad you made it in today. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to catch more live readings like this. I do a lot of lives on this channel. Eventually, I'll do videos here, but for right now, I do a lot of videos. So you want to subscribe and hit the bell button to catch me next time. Okay, so Gracie. That's interesting. You have the Strength card in reverse. And it's that side of the Strength card. Followed by, look at this, the King of Cups, also in reverse. Followed by the Four of Swords. This is flipping hilarious, Gracie. Okay, so Strength card in reverse gives us a little bit more insight about this narcissistic person that's influencing your life. This basically, talks about that the devil comes out whenever things aren't going their way. That's when they start throwing fits and acting like this. All right. Now, we have the King of Cups in reverse. They can get kind of angry. And they can even try to do like emotional manipulation. And sometimes it's just intimidation too. Here's where we get to your advice. Four of Swords. What does that guy look like he's doing in his chair? Your nephew. You told him to stop pitching a silent fit. I think this guy looks like he just got tired in the middle of the day and he's just taking a nap in his throne. Yep, exactly. So your best advice is just to like take a break, maybe even take a nap. Be like, I can't really talk to you right now. I'm tired. I'm going to go lay down. That could very literally be the advice. But also, if you look at it more generally, this could be advice that says, I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break from this conversation. I'll get back to you later on that. Or talk to me whenever you've got such and such accomplished or whatever, but find a way to work a break into this situation because nobody needs to take that like full force for however long they can produce this. Yeah. Yeah, like this isn't really changing anything in my life when you see this card, like nothing's really changing here. I mean, you can see the explosions off in the distance and the fire and the smoke and everything. He's like, yeah, I'm just having a nap. Well, then you definitely got to piggyback. Sometimes you have to take a nap because that kind of energy is just exhausting. Hmm. He's like, oh, just somebody else battling for control. I'm going to stay here in my tower and just, I'll check on it again when I wake up. All right, so let's see. We've got 5 people in the room. I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 10. And I'm going to read for that person next that puts that number in the chat in front of my face first. Number between 1 and 10. Thank you for all the thumbs ups, guys. I appreciate that. If you're new here and you want to make sure you catch these videos again, you definitely want to hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you know when I go live next time. Let's see. 3 is not it. 5 is not it. 6 is not it. 2 is not it. Cheryl Ford, you got a 4. Cheryl Ford. Cheryl, since I read for you before, I'm going to pull you 1 card this time, and then we're going to do this again. So for Cheryl, card of the day, this is going to talk about something that happened within the last 24 hours or something that will happen by this time tomorrow. It'll be really interesting to see if this ties in with what we got on your 5-card spread that hasn't happened yet. Let's see what we've got. Miss Cheryl Ford, card of the day. Okay, my dear, you have, oops, let's make that be quiet. You have the 6 of Swords showing up in reverse. This talks about some kind of lifestyle change. And this is a lifestyle change that helps you to enjoy your life more now, or, and maybe, gives you the possibility of having a longer life, one or the other. So this can be anything from eating better foods, exercising more, maybe you quit vaping, quit smoking, quit whatever, but doing something to improve your lifestyle and potentially the length of your life. All right, so we have 4 in the room, number between 1 and 8. What have I not picked yet? There we go. All right, number between 1 and 8. Whoever puts that in my face first is going to be the next person to get a reading. Number between 1 and 8. You need to quit smoking? Well, it looks to me like you're doing something to improve your lifestyle. I don't know if it's that or not, but something. To improve your quality of life, I should say. They say that vaping is actually worse than smoking, but nobody knew that when they came out with vaping. It smells a lot better than smoking. 3 is not it. Anybody else? Guess as many times as you want until we get there. Anybody else want to guess? Number between 1 and 8. And 3 is not it. Boopity doo 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 doo. Boopity doo doo. By the way, also, if you know anybody else who would benefit from having a live reading at no charge, be sure that you share this video while I'm still here so people can get in on this. 8 is not it. So 3 is not it. 8 is not it. Number between 1 and 8. Is anybody going to give Star Traveler any kind of competition for the next reading? Anybody else want a reading in here? Or did I read for all of y'all? Boop, bop, 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 bop. 6 is it. Star Traveler. 3 is a charm, right? So Star Traveler, whenever I read, I like to know first names. It helps me to, well, I think it helps me to tap in. Maybe that's all in my head, but I like to have first names. So can you tell me your first name, please? Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Linda. Oh, with a Y. Excellent. All right. Do you have a specific question for me today, Linda? If you do, you can put that in the chat. Or if you want a message from Spirit where Sacred Spirit picks your topic and your advice or heads up or insight around that topic, you can put message from Spirit. Whatever you want to do out of those two. Linda. Bum, by the way, while I'm waiting for Linda, I'll just remind everybody I do offer private readings. My website is in the description below. You can check out my website to see all of my offerings. But really quickly, as far as readings, I just offer a 1 or 2 question reading. Those are recorded readings that I send you the link to and you can download and listen to at your own leisure. Or I offer 30-minute live readings, 45-minute or 60-minute live readings. The recorded readings are 1 question for $30, 2 questions for $53, and the live readings are 30 minutes for $100, 45 minutes for $150, or an hour for $200. I also offer Reiki sessions, either in person if you happen to be local to the Denver metro area, or online. So at a distance, either way works just fine. What direction should I go in with my art? Okay. Cash flow ASAP. Hello there, Sarabi. So let's see. Well, right now I'm answering a question for Star Traveler, and then after that, we'll see what happens. I might take another question. I'm not sure. What is the best direction for Linda to go in with her art, especially in regards to creating a cash flow as quickly as possible with it? Well, I'm going to look at another spread too with my Lenormand, but I did put down 3 cards with my tarot as well. And what you had come up on the tarot is really interesting, especially because we're considering ASAP. I don't know if you read the tarot cards yourself, but you've got the Hanged Man coming up very first, and the Hanged Man says, hold on, wait a minute. The first bit of advice is let's think this over from a bunch of different angles. And it takes some time to do that. That's not an action card. That's a thought card. All right. After that, we have the Chariot in reverse, which means a couple things to me. Chariot in reverse means don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. So if you're thinking of moving and moving your art all into a museum or into a, not a museum, what am I talking about? A gallery. This would say don't go anywhere. If you're already in a gallery, don't move it out of the gallery. Don't go anywhere. Now, the other thing that this card says is that the Chariot talks about, when it's right side up, it talks about this idea of having a partner that you're on the same page with, you're moving forward with, things are happening and progressing well and quickly. When the Chariot is in reverse, this basically says, don't be partnering up with somebody. That's not going to work. That's going to take the train off the rails. Okay, so we've got some interesting answers so far. So think this through really well. Be careful. Don't be partnering up with anybody right now. And we also have the Five of Wands. Now, the Five of Wands to me talks about competition. Part of how you get your cash flow may be actually entering some kind of competition. Not only like maybe you'll win and it'll be a cash prize, but also like this gets your name out there, gets people to actually see your work, and then maybe they come and check your website or something. I don't know. But competition is part of the key to creating a cash flow quickly. But I think you want to be careful about what competition you come into. You want to think that over, or maybe you want to think over really well, what are you going to enter into the competition? But there's this idea of looking at this from several angles. Hello there, Joe. Sarabi, I don't think you heard a thing I said. Now let's look at the Lenormand and see where they're pointing us. What direction would be best for Linda to go with her art, with the goal of creating cash flow as quickly as possible? The card that just fell was my Pathways card, like picking a path. So that's Spirit saying, we hear what you're saying. I would have cards that would say that would say, stop thinking, make a decision, move fast. We have nothing saying move fast. The only action I'm seeing has to do with some kind of contest. Contest or competition. Now, let's look at the Lenormand. So I've got a 9-card spread down, so 3 rows up, 3 columns down, which puts 1 card in the middle, and that 1 card impacts all the other cards around. So first of all, let's look at this 1 card in the middle. We've got the mice. The mice talk about chewing away or chewing through things. Okay, so what are we chewing away or chewing through? When we look at our first diagonal, left on the top down to right on the bottom, we have our birds, which talks about worry and chatter. So we want to cut it out on the worry and chatter. We want to minimize that, especially worried chatter, for sure. Even if it's worried chatter, I'm going to say. And this is worried chatter that has to do with some kind of contract or agreement, because this is sealed. This is a letter or considered a contract. Okay, so we want to cut down any kind of worried chatter that has to do with a contract or agreement. All right, so if you've got some kind of contract or agreement that you're worried about, maybe it's a mortgage, or maybe it's a contract with a client, or whatever this is, you got to quit talking about the things that you're worried about around this, because you're just making that energy bigger. Okay, now here's our direction card. Talks about choosing a path, choosing a direction. This is the card that actually fell as we were looking at this, when we first started looking at this. Remember, we've got the mice right next to that. So we're chewing through this idea of we have to make a decision right now. Spirit's actually saying you don't have to make that decision right now. Let's lose that idea. Let's minimize that idea. Let's choose that idea right away. Okay. And conversation. You've got somebody telling you, or maybe this is your inner dialogue, But it looks to me like somebody on the outside is probably telling you over and over and over, you have to figure something out. You have to do something right now. Maybe it's your inner dialogue. Could be. If you look at this card really closely, you can see there's the one guy shaking the fingers and the other person is putting their fingers in their ears. I'm not hearing this baloney. Right? So chew through this idea that people are trying to push on you, or that your inner dialogue is trying to push at you, saying you have to choose a path right now. That's not cool. Okay. Now, let's look at your center vertical. This talks about some kind of commitment. Okay. Where this is an agreement, an official agreement. The difference between these two cards is this is some kind of commitment to do something like over and over and over and over and over again. Now, when you do artwork, you don't do the same thing over and over again, but you might get commissioned to do like a series of work. So this is talking about some kind of contract, okay? Both of those are true. Gotcha. And we have the scythe coming up. The scythe is something that comes up really suddenly and it cuts, okay? So this is actually cutting through what's being chewed away. So these actually negate each other. It's almost like saying two negatives wipes the negative out, then it becomes a positive whenever we're speaking. So this contract, this cutting away, we're cutting away at the chewing away of something. So what are we not having chewed away? We're not having this contract chewed away, okay? So this is a contract coming up. So first we have a contest on the tarot. Here we have a contract that's coming up. But to get to the contract, we have to stop making the negative energy bigger by talking about it and worrying about it. And we have to quit listening to people telling us we have to make a decision right now. When you're an artist, you have so many different options. It kind of goes against the artist's grain to make a decision and just limit themselves and put themselves into a box. I think that's just me. Now, looking at our middle horizontal, we have the bouquet. This talks about a gift, or it talks about a visit. All right. So we can chew through, because we have the mice through here, chew through this idea of a visit. Remember, we have the Chariot in reverse. Don't go anywhere. All right. So we're chewing through this idea of a visit. Well, let's look a little bit more at this visit. Right above the visit is the worried chatter card. Okay. Right below that, this is chatter with somebody that's telling us we have to decide something right now. So we want to minimize those visits with people that encourage us to do this worried chatter and that try to tell us you have to do something this moment. Okay. Now, let's go back to this horizontal. So we have visits that we're chewing through. We know what kind of visits we want to chew through. And then we have our courier, our messenger. Okay, so we want to chew through these visits that cause us to do worried chatter and hear that we have to make a decision right now, so that we can actually get in the messages that we need to get in to be able to move forward. And look, we've got a courier and the sealed letter. Okay, so, and this message is about a decision. So it's a decision, and with the sealed letter underneath, this is a decision that somebody agrees with you on. Okay, so this is going to be a decision. Remember, the decision is also right next to my contract card. So here's the thing. You got to get your manifesting juices flowing. You can't be manifesting against yourself, which is what you're doing when you're talking and thinking all these worried thoughts. And you're letting somebody tell you, you have to decide right now. Well, right now you're in fear. Right now you're anxious. That's not a time to make a decision. You're going to make a crap decision if you do it right now. You have to get your manifesting hat on and start thinking about those things that you really want. How do you want this to go down? And get that gratitude happening and allow yourself to start feeling good again so that you can get these good things flowing to you so that you have nothing to worry about. But you have to feel good before the things that you're worried about go away. That's where it gets tricky. Basically, it looks to me like you're trying to manifest this new income, but you're so worried about an income that what you're creating is, I need to manifest a bigger income than I realized. So you got to quit worrying about it. You got to know Spirit has your back. You got to start being grateful for the things around you that you do have, and you got to start focusing on the good things, whether it's the good things you want or the good things that you have. But you got to start focusing on those and give more of your time and attention to those than you do to all this pressure somebody's putting on you and all the worries that you have. I think besides this contest, it looks to me like you've got some kind of recurring series where somebody's going to be wanting to consign some work from you. You've got some things that are coming up, but you have to be open to it, and you have to get in that space energetically to be able to receive it. But this doesn't take you going anywhere and rushing anything. And I'm going to tell you too, when I first started doing readings for my living, I quit a perfectly good 40-hour-a-week job. The pay was okay. It got me through. It certainly wasn't great, and I couldn't say I was comfortable, but it got me through. But when I quit that job, Spirit had told me it was time to quit it and to do this full time. But I knew that, like, in the 3D, I didn't have that client base set up to be able to really swing that financially. And there was somebody that was, I would say, one of my earlier mentors about manifesting who guided me. He's like, listen to The Secret 3 times a day. And back then, The Secret was on YouTube. You could watch it 3 times a day, however many times a day you wanted. I think it's on Netflix now, last time I looked. But he guided me to do that to help me get my manifestation hat on right, because I didn't know anything about manifesting at that time. And I did that for a couple of weeks, and finally I could have like repeated The Secret back to you word for word. And I was getting to where I knew I needed something else to chew on. And then I found Abraham Hicks on YouTube, and I started listening to at least 3 Abraham Hicks videos every day. And that's what really made the difference for me as far as financially in my life, was really getting focused on manifesting energetically. Because there's really something to that. Thank you for being here, Miss Cheryl. Thank you for participating. Peace, my friend. Yep, there's a movie out too. And people learn things differently. Some of us learn by reading. Some of us learn by seeing. I used to read lots of books. Now everything for me, if it's not on audio, I'm not probably going to get past 4 pages just because I don't have the time. But I can listen to a book while I'm washing the dishes or something. So maybe you want to look at other ways that you can get that into your system, and maybe read the book as well. And reread it. But you want to get that news about manifesting in your brain, in your brain, in your brain, in your brain. You got to feed yourself with that so that you can stand yourself up on your feet. That's what's going to help you stand up on your feet faster than anything else, is figuring out about manifestation and the attitude it takes to do that. All right, so it looks like I've been here almost an hour. It's time for me to get out of here and see what else I can stir up today. Thank you guys very much. Tower moments will set you back a little bit, or a lot, however much you let them, basically. Because, because of the human experience, we don't always feel great. But you want to keep reaching for what's the next best feeling that I can find. How can I find the next best feeling? So that's what you just keep reaching for. Because tower moments actually set us up to end up in a better space than what we started off with. So towers are good things. They bring in that contrast that motivates us to get into a better space than we've ever been in before. All right, so that's it for my time here today. Everybody, thank you very much for keeping me company. I appreciate y'all because y'all are the ones who make this live reading fun, interesting, satisfying, fulfilling for me. Please know that if you want a reading or if you want a mentoring session, I am available for those. You can find out all about my services. You can also find out about my classes, all at my website, which is listed in the description box below. And I look forward to seeing you guys back on the next video and for reading for a few of you in personal readings in between now and then. Peace out.